morning. My name is Christianetti, and I'm the JPS Assistant Superintendent of Communications. And today I am here with science teacher at 4th Street, Jen Koppin. Hi, Jen.
Hi.
So, Jen, how long have you worked with JPS?
I've been here 6 years.
Wow.
Plus my student teaching. So
you started right here out of school?
Yes, I did. Yep.
And what made you choose JPS?
Well, I loved my student teaching experience. I got to work in both alternative schools that were here at the time, and that was kind of what I had wanted to do with teaching anyway. So when the teacher I worked with in my student teaching moved away, I just moved right into her spot, and it was kind of perfect.
So what is 4th Street?
4th Street is our alternative middle school program, and it's a program for students who are challenged in a traditional classroom. So smaller class sizes, more one-on-one time with teachers, a little bit of a different approach to learning, and more of a whole child approach. So we're working on social and emotional skills, not just academics.
How many students are at 4th Street then?
I think right now it's around 47.
Okay. And that's located right here in Parkside, right?
It is, yeah. It's just 2 hallways at the end of the building, so we have all the same access to things at Parkside.
That's great. Now, I understand you're a gardener.
Yes, yeah, it's one of my passions outside of teaching, and I've included it in a lot of my teaching.
Yeah, so tell me, I understand you applied for a grant. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, actually, they cut out some of the work for me. I didn't have to apply for the grant. Someone else had already gotten it, and they were looking for partners to share that with. So the grant is from the Michigan Health Endowment Fund, and it was given to Vista Grand Villas, which is a local retirement community. So the plan with the grant is to set up garden hubs around the city to distribute food to those who are living in food deserts or in isolation, so elderly people and youth specifically that have food insecurity.
So what will happen with this grant? Like, what does it provide for you?
It's so exciting. I can't not smile about it.
I just love that you're not smiling.
Yeah. So they're going to build 2 new greenhouses at the school right outside of 4th Street and some raised beds outside of that. And it'll end up, once we get it going, it'll provide food for 80 people in this area, and we'll distribute fresh produce to those people every week.
Now, will there be volunteers at the school?
Yes, so that's part of what the program will provide, is they'll bring folks that are living at Vista Grand Villas to work with the students. So we have an intergenerational approach to solving the problem. And then we'll also hopefully recruit some elementary students to come and work with our middle school students as well.
What kinds of things will we be growing? Vegetables?
Yes, mostly vegetables. We're going to have a cut flower garden too. We're hoping to be able to include a bouquet of flowers occasionally with the food, but it'll be greens in the springtime, greens, radishes, things like that that come up first. And then we'll move on to stuff like tomatoes and strawberries. And my students have been interested in African food lately, so we're talking about growing okra and sweet potatoes and some other things like that.
Will you incorporate some teaching units on what to do with the food and how to cook it?
Absolutely, yeah. We're hoping to have a lot of workshops at the garden and at other locations, as well as field trips with the students. Last year we went to a farm and we learned some of how they process food there, so we want to do some things like that again too. Now
tell me, in your teaching at 4th Street, what other things do you go over with kids? Because I know you do some crazy experiments too.
Yeah, actually, today, we talked about elephant toothpaste before. We're doing that today.
So tell me about that again. Now,
that's so fun. It's a chemical reaction, an exciting chemical reaction. You mix hydrogen peroxide with food coloring and soap and a little bit of yeast, like baker's yeast. And the hydrogen peroxide attacks the cells in the yeast, and then the soap creates like a foaming effect. So you get this really huge fountain-y kind of explosion of foam. So it's not really toothpaste, but it looks kind of like giant toothpaste.
So it's like big
so we were reading
toothpaste.
About elephants today, even though it doesn't have anything to do really with elephants in real life. You know,
a good example of an experiment. So I guess in your world, you are really interested in making sure that students get interested in science too.
Yes, so that's one of the main things that we focus on at 4th Street, is just getting kids to love school again. So a lot of them have missed school or they haven't had a good experience. So just getting them to feel included and excited about learning is step one.
So in your experience with JPS as a teacher, we're always doing hiring. So what are your thoughts about being a teacher here, and would you recommend that someone work for JPS?
Great question. So yeah, what I love the most about it is the people that I work with and the students that I work with. I mean, they're people. So
yeah.
I'm a people person, and that's really what it's all about. We have a great support staff and a great team over at 4th Street and everywhere else too. But I really love the people. That's really what keeps me here.
So as a teacher at 4th Street, I know that you're dealing with a population of students who have fallen out of love with school or have met some challenges. For parents who are dealing with that, what's some advice that you have to kind of support them?
Call us, reach out, and I think we've all made an effort, not just at 4th Street, but everywhere, to make more positive contacts with families. And so answer the phone. It's not always a bad call.
Right.
And I know sometimes we get that, like, what do you do now? And it's like, everything's fine.
Just checking in.
Yeah. So that too, just more checking in. But we need parents to do the same for us. So I think a lot of parents also have had fallen out of love with school, maybe through their own experience, so they have some of the same feelings, and getting them to feel welcome in the school is really important to us as well. So I want them to know that.
What do the kids do for fun at 4th Street?
Oh my gosh, we're doing a lot for fun. So other than amazing science experiments, we have kind of a point reward system, and kids can earn rewards for Fun Friday, and we do some different activities on Fridays with art and things like that. We have a smaller number of classes at 4th Street, so they don't really get to have an art class, so that's something a lot of kids like to do. We play a lot of games, a lot of learning games, and there's a lot of they get a lot of time to socialize. At least in my class, I try to plan that in there, just because it's such a important part of learning, playing and talking with each other. So I think a lot of kids come over there and they're like, oh, I thought this was going to be really bad, but I like it better here. It's like, it's
a very welcoming environment.
Yeah,
exactly. And that's a good point, trying to meet them where they are, right? And I think that's one of the important things that we've learned about education in general, is just that not everybody comes to the table with the same resources or support, or and sometimes it's not even that, it's just who they are. I mean, it's just kind of where they are at right now at this time in their life, that they need a different kind of support. So I am grateful at JPS that we do have 4th Street and Jackson Pathways for other opportunities for learning for the kids who may not fit in the traditional classroom, but certainly fit into learning.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, anyone can learn.
Right.
You just have to be willing and find an interest,
Yeah, I think that's really important.
Yep, I agree.
Important. So aside from all of that, and you love working at Jackson Public Schools, is there anything else that you would tell the community about Jackson Public Schools that they need to know?
Gosh, I just feel like if there's something that you need, you just have to ask. And we have a lot of resources, untapped resources, great social worker teams at both schools that I'm involved with, and we work closely with DHHS. There are a lot of resources through the school that I don't know if families necessarily know about. So as far as that goes, ask.
Yeah, I think that's really important, is that people would be surprised how much support can be at the school if they ask for it, or at least seek the information. Well, thank you very much for interviewing with me today. It's been exciting to hear what you are doing. I'm very excited for this garden. So as it progresses, we'll show some of the work that's being done. And now, will you guys help build those greenhouses, or so you can see that part too?
Yep,
Great.
Absolutely.
Well, we look forward to seeing that.
Yeah, me too. Thank you.
Thank you.